Hello students, good afternoon. My name is Michelle Law and I'm here to do my next lesson on paragraph writing. And before I move on to today's lesson, first let me recap what I have taught you in my previous lesson. So this is a recap of the previous lesson. First of all, we spoke about a topic sentence. A topic sentence is a complete sentence. Then it states the topic of the paragraph. A topic sentence contains both a topic and a controlling idea. And then I taught you how to narrow down a topic to write a topic sentence. Then we moved on to talk about supporting sentences. And I showed you how brainstorming methods like free writing and clustering can be used to collect supporting sentences for the paragraph that you write. So there is one thing that I need to tell you. Today's lesson is going to be a little different. The reason is because I am going to give you a few activities to do in between, and I will be giving you some time like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and so on. So if you do not have pen and paper ready, you need to have pen and paper ready with you in order to do this activity. I will give you 1 minute to quickly go and grab a pen and paper and to come to this lesson on paragraph writing, and then I will start today's lesson. Okay, you can go now and get a pen and paper if you do not have them with you now. Okay, students, so I'm going to start today's lesson, and these are the learning outcomes of today's lesson. First of all, I will tell what is meant by coherence, and then I will explain ways to achieve coherence in your writing, and I will move on to these 4 methods as the repetition of key nouns, the use of consistent pronouns, the use of cohesive devices, and logical order. And then I will very briefly talk about clarity and finish my lecture. Coherence. So now, last week when I was teaching you paragraph writing, I told you that having a topic sentence and having supporting sentences are very important. And I told you how to write a good topic sentence and the things that you need to keep in mind when you're writing supporting sentences. So today I'm going to talk about another important element of a good paragraph, and that is coherence. Coherence means that your paragraph is easy to read and understand because your supporting sentences are in some kind of logical order and your ideas are connected by the use of appropriate transition signals or cohesive devices. Cohesive devices are also called as linking words. So these words might be very new to you. Okay, so I will explain them, and hopefully by the end of the lesson, words like coherence cohesive devices will be like not difficult words anymore. So coherence means that your paragraph is easy to read and understand. To have coherence in a paragraph, the sentences must hold together. The movement from one sentence to another should be smooth and logical. There cannot be sudden jumps, right? So when you write one sentence in a paragraph and then when you move to another sentence, there should be a good connectivity between them, as if they have been glued together. You get the feeling as if they have been glued together because there is a good connectivity between the sentences, within the sentences. There cannot be sudden jumps. Like if I'm reading one of your paragraphs, I cannot get the feeling like from where did this sentence actually come, right? මේ වාක්‍ය කොහෙන්ද මෙතෙන්ට ආවේ කියලා ඒ වගේ හැඟීමක් එන්න බෑ. හොඳට වාක්‍ය අතර හොඳ සම්බන්ධතාවයක් තියෙන්න ඕන. වාක්‍ය අතර හොඳ සම්බන්ධතාවයක් ගොඩනැගෙන්න ඕන. Right? There cannot be sudden jumps and surprises for a reader. Okay? So there are 4 ways to achieve coherence. Let me remind you what is meant by coherence once again. Coherence means that your paragraph is easy to read and understand, right? That means your sentences must hold together. The movement from one sentence to another should be smooth and logical, right? So those are things that you need to keep in mind. So 4 ways to achieve coherence. One is repeating key nouns. The other one is using correct pronouns. Then using cohesive devices and arrange sentences in a logical order. So my lecture today will be mainly based on these 4 points. Repetition of key nouns. The easiest way to achieve coherence is to repeat key nouns. There is no rule as to how many times the key noun has to be repeated or when to use pronouns. You need to use a noun instead of a pronoun when the meaning is not clear. So for example, if you are talking about your mother, and you start your essay saying, my mother is Geethani. She is 56 years old. She is a housewife, right? So if you are writing an essay on your mother, normally if we take a grade 5 essay as an example, which consists of 3 to 5 sentences, if we are writing about our mother, we would normally say, my mother is Geethani. She is 56 years old. She is a housewife. But you do not normally end your essay saying, I love her. You normally end your essay by saying, I love my mother. That is what is meant by repeating key nouns. Whenever you feel that what you are saying is not clear, right? When the pronouns are not strong enough to remind the reader what you are talking about, you need to repeat the key noun. ප්‍රධාන නාම පදය නැවත නැවත මතක් කරන එක හොඳයි. අම්ම ගැන අපි රචනාවක් ලියනවා නම් මගේ අම්මගේ නම ගීතානි, ඇයට වයස අවුරුදු 56යි, ඇය ගෘහණියක් කියලා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි පහවසරේ වගේ ලියන රචනාවක් ඉවර කරලා මම මගේ අම්මට ගොඩක් ආදරෙයි කියලා. අම්මා කියන ප්‍රධාන නාම පදය අපි අපහු සැරයක් මතක් කරනවා. හරි, එතකොට ඒක මතක් කළ යුතු වාර ගාන කීයක්ද කියලා හරියටම නිශ්චිත උත්තරයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි අපි දෙන්න හදන පණිවිඩය නැත්තම් සර්වනාම පද පැහැදිලි නැති හැම අවස්ථාවකදීම ප්‍රධාන නාම පදය අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕනේ. Okay, so please keep on mind that it's very important to repeat the key noun. So if you're writing about human resource management, make sure that you repeat human resource management twice or thrice, right? So if you're writing about technology, if you're writing about marketing, entrepreneurs, whatever, repeat that particular key noun again and again and remind the reader of what you are actually talking, right? So that is one main method of achieving coherence in your writing. By natural ප්‍රධාන නාම පද අපව සැරයක් මතක් කළ යුතුයි කියලා හිතන හැම සැරයකම වගේ මතක් කරන්න. Okay, now there is a small activity. As I told you, today's lesson is going to be based on a few activities, and I will be giving you time to complete these activities. Okay, now this is a paragraph that I had in my last week lesson as well, so I'm sure you are all familiar with this paragraph. Now what you have to do is find the word gold and all the pronouns that refer to it. Gold කියන ප්‍රධාන නාම පදය කීපාරක් මේ පැරග්‍රාෆ් එකේ තියෙනවද? සහ ඒ වෙනුවෙන් යොදා ඇති pronouns සර්වනාම පද ටික හොයන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ. I will give you 3 minutes to complete this activity. මේ activity එක කරන්න මම විනාඩි 3ක කාලයක් දෙන්නම්. ප්‍රධාන නාම පදේ gold කියන නාම පදය සහ ඒ සඳහා යොදවා තියෙන සර්වනාම පද ටික හොයන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Right? I hope the activity is clear. So your time starts now and I will give you 3 minutes to complete this activity. Okay, now let's check our answers. So the word gold has been used 7 times. The pronoun it has been used twice and the pronoun its has been used 3 times. If there are students who counted this as well as a pronoun, here actually it means the Macedonian coin and not gold, right? I told you to look for the word gold and the pronouns that refer to gold only. So the word gold has been repeated 7 times, the pronoun it twice, and the pronoun its 3 times, right? So see, as you can see, fearlessly the writer has repeated the main noun, the key noun whenever it was appropriate. Now look at this paragraph. In this paragraph, what has happened? All the words, all the key nouns, the key noun gold has been replaced by a pronoun, right? So this is less coherent. This paragraph is not a very good paragraph because like when we come to about this point, it's doubtful as to what it really is. It's කියන එක විතරයිනේ gold කියලා මෙතන මුලදී කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ හැමතැනම gold කියන it's කියලා තියෙනවා. So it's a little confusing, right? If you try to write a paragraph by using the key noun only at the beginning and then by replacing the key noun with the pronoun throughout the paragraph, then it's a little confusing and it's not actually very clear to the reader. First of all, gold, a precious metal, is prized for 2 important characteristics. First of all, it has a lustrous beauty, then therefore it is suitable for jewelry. It never needs to be, so this is not a very good paragraph compared to this paragraph because the key noun has not been repeated appropriately. So try to avoid this mistake. මේ වැරද්ද කරන එක නවත්තන්න. ප්‍රධාන නාම පදය ලියන ඡේදය ඇතුළ නැවත කියවන පුද්ගලයාට මතක් කරලා දෙන්න. Use of consistent pronouns. When you use pronouns instead of key nouns, use the same person and number throughout the paragraph. Do not change he to she or from her to they. So if you are talking about one particular number, then it should be, the pronoun should be it, right? And if it's one person, if it's a male, you can use he. If it's a female, you can use she. But you cannot use her, and then you cannot move on to they. Then it's a change of number, right? And you also cannot use he, and then later on in the paragraph, you cannot use she or it, right? Then it becomes a change of person. She can be her, he can be him, they can be them, right? But they can't be she can't be he can't be they, right? You have to be consistent in the pronouns that you use. Otherwise, the reader has to go back and actually find out who this person is. Is there a change of number? Is there a change of person, or have you actually done a mistake, right? Okay, I'm going to move on to my next slide. Using cohesive devices or linking words and phrases. Words and phrases such as however, in addition, in fact, despite, although are extensively used in academic writing. They can be very effective for linking ideas, right? So when you use these words, they help you to connect one sentence with the other. It helps the connectivity, it helps the flow of your ideas, and also, and of course, helps the reader understand what you are trying to say. Because these words have certain meanings, right? And when you write those sentences with these words, then the writer know, okay, now this is what the student is trying to say. Okay, this is what the student is trying to say, because they indicate they are like signaling words. They give signals to the reader and tell that, okay, now this is what's going to be happening, and so on and so forth. I'll explain you these in detail in the next slides. So first of all, I want you to do this activity, right? So there's a table here with few columns, right? You have to select the words from here, words or phrases, and fill in these columns. So if you are going to add something to your sentence, what kind of a word or phrase can you use? So the intensification, it's like you are strengthening your point. තීව්‍ර ලෙස අදහස් දක්වනවා නම් මෙතෙන්ට දාන්න පුළුවන් වචන මොනවද? Comparison and contrast. සමානකම් අසමානකම් කියන්න හදනවා නම් අපිට ඒ වෙනින් පාවිච්චි කර හැකි වචන මොනවද? So if you are going to say a similar idea, or if you are going to say a contrasting idea, what words and phrases can you use before those sentences? Explanation, illustration, තවදුරටත් පැහැදිලි කිරීම කරනවා නම්. Hari, for example, normally we give an example when we need to illustrate a point, explain something more in detail. So what are the words and phrases that come under this column? Adversative is also like saying something opposite to what was already being told. මෙතෙක් පැවසු දෙයට විරුද්ධව දෙයක් කියනවා නම් අපි මොන වගේ වචනද අපිට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්? Then cause and effect. Cause and effect relationship. What are the words and phrases that can be used when we are trying to show a cause and effect in our writing? I will give you 10 minutes to complete this table. First try it on your own. I have the answers with me, but I would like you to try on your own and see how good you are in understanding the meanings of these words. Because if you know the correct meaning, it means that you are going to use them correctly in your writing. විනාඩි 10ක කාලයක් දෙන්නම් මේ activity එක සම්පූර්ණ කරන්න. Well, okay, your time starts now. Okay, now let us check the answers. So these are the answers for that particular activity. I have also added a few more words and phrases that go according to the particular topic of these headings. Right, so I will move on with my lesson now. So now these cohesive devices that are shown in this table, I'm going to explain to you in detail. So if you need to add more points, if you need to expand on what you are saying, you can use phrases like not only but also. Not only is iPhone 5 too light for some customers, it is also more susceptible to scratches, right? So in addition, additionally, furthermore, moreover, these are all sentence connectors when you need to add and expand on points. Then there's in addition, as well as, and besides as well. But if we take the word beside, it sounds a little informal. Besides, there is another important benefit, right? But if we use besides, like it is shown in this sentence, besides these advantages, there is another important benefit. You know, the word beside looks a little formal, looks better in sentences, right? So if you need to add more points, if you need to expand on what you are saying, these are words and phrases that you can use. Then when you need to list points, you can move from one point to another by using words like this. The first reason is, the second reason is, secondly, the third reason is, or thirdly, and so on. Then the reader knows, okay, now you have finished the first reason and now you are moving to the second reason, right? So when you are listing points, make sure to use phrases like this. If you're talking about 3 points in your paragraph, then you can say the first point is, the second point is, and so on. So when you're giving an example, don't just give an example and make the reader want to find out whether this is an example or not. You can use words like as an example, for example, as an example, for instance, and then you can give the example, right? So then the reader know, okay, this is an example on what the student have been writing. So the tone of a piece of writing can be, for example, serious, amusing, personal, or impersonal. Academic writing is formal and serious in tone, right? So the word, for example, before you give a few examples, you can use the word, for example, or even for instance. So these are also other words that you can use if you are going to add more points. Furthermore, moreover, in addition, These are all words that can be used to add points to what you're already saying. First year students not only have to adapt to a new academic context, but most of them also have to adapt to a new living situation. This sentence is about the first year university students and what they have to face as first years. Then see how the word not only but also has been used again. He is not only a singer but also a dancer. Right? Not only but also you're talking about more points. You are including more points and using phrases like this. Even moreover or furthermore, in addition can also be used accordingly. So if you when you are reading textbooks and journal articles recommended by your lecturers, try to focus on how these phrases have been used. Like when you come across the word furthermore or in addition, find out how they have been used in sentences, in paragraphs, in when you are reading books or journal articles. Right, once again, there's a small activity. I want you to write a sentence by using not only and but also. Not only and but also කියන වචන යොදලා එක වාක්‍යයක් හදන්න. I will give you 3 minutes, 2 minutes to complete this activity. Your time starts now. Okay, I hope that all of you were able to write a sentence using not only and but also. If I explain the meaning of these words in Sinhala, may not only but also කියන වචන වල තේරුම සිංහලෙන් පැහැදිලි කරොත් උදාහරණයක් වශයෙන් ඔහු ගායකයෙක් පමණක්ම නෙවෙයි ඔහු රචකයෙක් කියන අදහස තමයි not only but also කියන එකෙන් එන්නේ. He is not only a singer but also a dancer. He is not only a singer but also a dancer. ඔහු ගායකයෙක්ම පමණක් නෙවෙයි ඔහු නර්තකයෙක්. මගේ පියා ඉවීමට පමණක් නොව ගායනයටද දක්ෂයෙක්. Not only but also. යම් කිසි දෙයක්කට තව කරුණු ඇඩ් කරලා කියන එක තමයි මෙතනදී සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. To make contrasting points, විරුද්ධ අදහසක් කියනකොට we can use words like even though, although, on the contrary, however, right? So when you use these words, the reader knows like after this word or phrase, a contrasting point is going to come. Even though, although, on the contrary, however වගේ වචන පාවිච්චි කරොත් ඊට පස්සේ එන වාක්‍ය කලින් කියපෙකට ප්‍රතිවිරුද්ධ අදහසක් තමයි දෙන්න යන්නේ කියන එක කියන අදහස එනවා. Right? England lost the game. Look at this example. England lost the game, although, even though everyone played well. Right? So England lost the game and played well. Those are contrasting points. Right? So those are indicated by using these words. එංගලන්තය හොඳින් ක්‍රීඩා කළද ඔවුන් තරගය පරාජය වුණේ. හොඳින් ක්‍රීඩා කරයි පරාජය වුණා කියන එක කියන්නේ කරුණු දෙකක්. විරුද්ධ කරුණු දෙකක්. ඒවා සම්බන්ධ කරලා තියෙන මෙන්න මේ වචන වලින්. කළද එංගලන්තය හොඳින් ක්‍රීඩා කළද ඔවුන් පරාජය විය. නැත්නම් එංගලන්තය හොඳින් ක්‍රීඩා කළ නමුත් ඔවුන් පරාජය විය කියන ප්‍රතිවිරුද්ධ අදහස් දෙන්න ඕන වුණාම තමයි මෙන්න මේ වගේ although, even though වගේ වචන පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. Right. The next activity, once again, I want you to write a sentence by using the word although. Although කියන වචනය පාවිච්චි කරලා එක වාක්‍යයක් ලියන්න. And I will give you 2 minutes for this activity as well. Your time starts now. Okay, students, now I'm going to move on to my next slide, which is our final activity for this lesson. So what you have to do is, there are 3 blanks. You need to fill in the blanks with the correct linking word or phrase. මේ දීලා තියෙන ඡේදයේ ඉස්සරට අදාළ වචනය යොදලා ඉස්සෙන් පුරවන්න කියලා තමයි මේ activity එක තියෙන්නේ. මේ අද අපේ පාඩමට තියෙන අවසාන activity එක. This is the final activity for today's lesson. So as you can see, there are only 3 blanks, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 answers given. So out of the 7 answers, you need to select the correct answer and put them in the blank. මේ දීලා තියෙන උත්තර අපිට තියෙන්නේ හිස්තැන් 3යි ඒකට උත්තර 7ක් දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ උත්තර 7න් නිවැරදි වචන 3 හොයලා මේ හිස්තැන් 3 වල තියෙනවා. I will give you 5 minutes to complete this activity. Okay, now let's look at the answers. So these are the answers for the particular activity. Watson 2018 provides evidence that corporate social responsibility improves consumer sales as customers tend to support ethical doing business practices, thus improving profitability and encourage growth. For example, a yogurt company has been investing in making its products organic, creating fully recyclable packaging and reducing its CO2 output. As a result, profit has doubled within the last 2 years, providing the company with a range of opportunities to expand. So the answers are thus, for example, and as a result. Okay, so this is an important point. As you can see, I have given it in red letters. You should not use a cohesive device at the beginning of every sentence in a paragraph. Using too many transition signals or cohesive devices can be as confusing as using too few. Right? So cohesive devices may linking words කියනවා. හැම වාක්‍ය therefore, in addition, moreover, however වගේ වචන හැම වාක්‍යයකම මුලටම යොදිය යුතු නැහැ. ඕනවට වඩා මේ cohesive devices නැත්නම් මේ transition signals පාවිච්චි කරන එක ඒවා අඩුවෙන් පාවිච්චි කරනවා හා තරම්ම භයානකයි. ඒ තරම්ම කියවන කෙනාට අපහැදිලිතාවයක් ගේන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? So just because you have learned a lot of cohesive devices, that doesn't mean that you need to use these cohesive devices or these transition signals or linking words or whatever you call. You don't need to using them at the beginning of every sentence. හරි හැම වාක්‍යයකටම මේවා දාන්න යන්න එපා. එතකොට හරිම අපහැදිලි ගතියක් තමයි එන්නේ. right? So let me summarize the points up to now. So I told you that I'm going to explain you what is meant by coherence. And then I said that I'm going to talk about ways to achieve coherence. First of all, I told you of the repetition of key nouns. Then I explained the use of consistent pronouns, how it is important to stick to one particular pronoun um, when you are writing. And then I said the use of cohesive devices. The fourth point was logical order, which I'm going to explain to you from now onwards. Arrange sentences in a logical order. So the logical order of a paragraph depends on the topic and the purpose of your paragraph. Even two or more logical orders can be used in the same paragraph, right? And these are the below are some common logical orders used when writing in English. These are the logical orders that are commonly used. Sometimes you can use two or three logical orders together, right? For example, like when using comparison and contrast. I will tell you about this in detail. Each word, sorry, each logical order has different words and phrases to show the relationship among ideas. හරි මෙතෙක් උගන්වපු දේවල් මම සාරාංශයක් වශයෙන් කිව්වොත් මම පළවෙනිම කිව්වා කොහෙරන්ස් කියන වචනේ තේරුම මොකක්ද කියන එක මම සඳහන් කරා. ඒ වගේම කොහෙරන්ස් කියන දේ අපි ලියන ඡේදයක් ඇතුළත අපි ගන්නෙ කොහොමද කියලා මම කරුණු හතරක් යටතේ පැහැදිලි කරනවා කියලා කිව්වා. පළවෙනි කරුණ තමයි ප්‍රධාන නාම පදේ නැවත නැවතත් අපි ලියන ඡේදය ඇතුළත ගේන්න ඕනි කියලා මම කිව්වා. ඊට පස්සේ සර්වනාම පද පාවිච්චි කරනකොට සැලකිලිමත් යුතු කරුණු ගැන පැහැදිලි කරා. ඊළඟට cohesive devices නැත්නම් මේ linking words වාක්‍ය සම්බන්ධ කිරීමට අපි පාවිච්චි කරන පද එබැවින් එම නිසා තව දුරටත් මීට අමතරව වැනි දේවල් තමා මේ cohesive devices කියලා අපි සඳහන් කරේ. ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කියනවා therefore in addition furthermore because වගේ වචන වලින් කරන්නේ වාක්‍ය අතර සම්බන්ධකම් ගොඩනගන එක. ඊට පස්සේ මම හතරවෙනි කාරණ විදියට කිව්වා arrange sentences in a logical order. කියන්නේ තර්කානුකූලව කරුණු තම ඡේදයේ ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමේ වටිනාකම. එතකොට ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් ලියනකොට තර්කානුකූලව අදහස් ඉදිරිපත් කරන ක්‍රම තුනක් තියෙනවා. පළවෙනි එක chronological order, දෙවෙනි එක logical division of ideas and comparison and contrast කියන ඒවාට. මේවට ඒ හා යන වචන තියෙනවා. සමහර වචන තියෙනවා. අපි පාවිච්චි කළ යුතුයි chronological order එකක් use කරනකොට. එතකොට logical division එකක් විදිහට paragraph එක ලියනකොට අපි පාවිච්චි කරන යුතු සමහර වචන තියෙනවා. ඒවා ගැන තමයි මම දැන් පැහැදිලි කරන්න යන්නේ. So the first one is chronological order. Chronological order is a way of organizing ideas in a paragraph in the order of their occurrence. යම් කිසි දෙයක් සිදු වෙච්ච අනුපිළිවෙලට අපි කරුණු ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා නම් ඒකට තමයි chronological order කියලා කියන්නේ. So if you are going to talk about a certain topic on the way it occurred, then chronological order is a way of organizing ideas in a paragraph in the order of their occurrence in time, right? So when we are writing a recipe like how to make a cake, how to make a butter cake, if you are writing a history, we have to, for example, if you are writing about the history of labor union, we have to write about what happened in the history before we write about what its present situation is. කම්කරුවන්ගේ ඉතිහාසය පිළිබඳව අපි ඡේදයක් ලියනවා නම් ඉතිහාසයේ සිද්ධ වෙච්ච දේවල් ලියලා ඉන්නවනේ වර්තමානයේ සිද්ධ වෙන දේවල් වලට කියන්නේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා. ඒකට තමයි chronological order කියලා කියන්නේ. දේවල් සිද්ධ වෙච්ච අනුපිළිවෙලට සඳහන් කිරීම. උදාහරණයක් විදිහට කේක් එකක් හදනවා නම් අපි ඒ කේක් එක අනුපිළිවෙල සඳහන් කරන විදිය. So chronological order is also used in business and science to explain processes and procedures. How to take a photograph, how to perform a chemistry experiment, and so on. So if you're going to write step by step, then you can use the chronological order. So how to write a good paragraph in the chronological order? Of course, you need to use words like these. Discuss events or the steps in the order in which they occurred. So you can use first, next, finally, and so on. You can use also transition signals like gradually, meanwhile, before, while, and so on. But as I said before, you need to know the meaning of these words. Then only you can use them correctly in your paragraph, right? Now let's look at this paragraph. So this is a paragraph that is written in the chronological order. Take some time and read this paragraph, right? So you can see it talks about the evolution of computers in 1945. පරිගණක නිර්මාණය වෙච්ච හැටි 1945 සිද්ධ වුණ ආකාරය ගැන කියනවා. Then it talks about how it was in 1960. ඊට පස්සේ 1960 පරිගණක කොහොමද දියුණු වුණේ කියලා කතා කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ in 1971 how the evolution of computers has happened in 1971, and then finally today, right? So that is what writing a paragraph in the chronological order means, right? Topic sentence or chronological order. A paragraph written in the chronological order will somehow indicate the time order in the topic sentence. Chronological order එකකට අපි paragraph එකක් ලියනකොට ඒකේ topic sentence එකේ මේක chronological order එක ලියන paragraph එකක් කියන සංඥාව අදහස දෙනවා. Right? Now if we look at the topic of the paragraph on the evolution of computers, the phrases like in the relatively short span of 60 years, and the word evolution gives a clue that this paragraph will be written in the chronological order. So the paragraph is based on a span of 60 years. How the evolution of computers happened within that particular 60 years, and how it is today, right? So it gives a hint to the reader that this is going to be a paragraph written in the chronological order. The next way is logical division of ideas. When logical division is used in a paragraph, related ideas are grouped together and each group is discussed one after the other. That is so logical division එකක් ගැන කතා කරනකොට එක කරුණක් ගැන කතා කරලා ඉවර වෙලා අනිත් කරුණ ගැන කියනවා. If the groups are equally important, then they can be discussed in either or any order. Then the points that you discuss in the paragraph, there are two main points, and if they are both equally important, it doesn't mind whether A comes as first or B comes as first, right? So if you're going to talk about boys and girls in a paragraph, if you think that they are both equally important, it doesn't mind whether you talk about boys first or girls first, if they are both equally important. But you have to keep in mind that you need to give they have to be unified within themselves. There should be a good unity in the way you have written on one particular point, and then how you have moved and explained the next particular point. Okay, so that is how you can write a paragraph with using logical division of ideas. I will show you an example and show you how logical division can be used. The paragraph I showed you on gold is also a paragraph on logical division. It divides 2 points, and explains those 2 points separately. Life in Spain. Living aboard a space station in orbit around the Earth for months at a time poses problems for astronauts' bodies as well as for their minds. So logical division. First, they are going to talk about how living in space affects an astronaut's body and how it affects the astronaut's minds. Right? So this is the logical division. Right? And then the paragraph goes on to talk about one major problem is maintaining astronauts' physical health. Right? And the reader goes on and talks about the physical health. And then from here onwards, a second major problem is, and then, so by saying a second major problem is maintaining astronauts' mental health, the writer moves on to explain on the second point, that is the logical division. That is how logical division is being used in this paragraph. So there are a few questions. In order to answer this question, you need to take some time and read the paragraph, right? How many main groups is the topic of this paragraph divided into? And what are they? I have already explained you these 2 points. Does the topic sentence of the paragraph tell you the topics of these groups? Yes or no? Does the concluding sentence tell you what the division is? The topics of the 2 groups? What signal words indicate the division? Where else are signal words used? So these are things that I need you to work on your own. And then the final question, in your opinion, would it make any difference if mental health were discussed before physical health? Do you think that one is more important than the other, or are they approximately equal in importance? So do you think that the paragraph should talk about mental health first? Or do you think it should talk about physical health first? Or are they both equally important? Right? So if they are both equally important, it doesn't matter which point comes first, as long as you do the clear division of the 2 points and write a well-organized paragraph. So these are a few answers for the question, right? Number 1, how many main groups is a topic of this paragraph divided into? It's divided into 2 main groups. It talks about the astronauts' mental problems and physical problems. Then, does this topic sentence of the paragraph tell you the topics of these groups? Right. As well, the topic sentence as well as the concluding sentence give us a hint on these 2 particular groups. So the answer is yes. What signal words indicate the division? One major problem is, right? Gives you the message that, okay, the read writer is going to talk about one particular aspect. Then a second major problem is, and then the writer goes to talk about the second major problem. Where else are signal words used? So words like as well as, furthermore, these are all signal words that the writer has used. As I told you before, they are not used at the beginning of every sentence, but appropriately they have been used. So in your opinion, would it make any difference if mental health were discussed before physical health? Right? That's up to you to decide. Then the topic sentence for logical division. The topic sentence of logical division, similar to chronological order, has its own way of showing it. The topic sentence of logical division often indicates the number of groups the topic is divided. Right? Gold, precious metal, is prized for two important characteristics. The topic sentence in logical division may even say what those groups are. Gold, precious metal, is prized not only for its beauty, but also for its utility. Right? So that is how you can write a topic sentence in a paragraph that is written according to the logical division. Comparison contrast. Comparison and contrast involves analysis of similarities and differences of two or more components. Similar to other kinds of paragraphs, the key to writing a comparison contrast paragraph is to organize ideas in some kind of order, right? So you need to order your paragraph in some kind of an order. The contents of a comparison contrast paragraph can vary. Some paragraphs emphasize more on similarities and some paragraphs emphasize more on differences. Right? So when you are to write on similarities and differences or comparison and contrast, you can write similarities in one paragraph and the differences in another paragraph. Right? A paragraph can be written with both similarities and differences if there are not many points to discuss. So if you do not have a lot of similarities and differences, then sorry, you can write both those in one paragraph. But make sure to have a clear division of these ideas. Don't jump from similarities to differences, then differences to similarities. You rather finish similarities first and then move on to the differences. If you're writing them both in one paragraph, if you're writing them in separate paragraphs, of course, similarities should be in one paragraph and then the differences should be in the other paragraph. So when you're writing a paragraph with similar information, you can use words like similarly, in comparison, and so on. If you are writing a paragraph with contrasting points, you can use phrases like on the other hand, unlike, in contrast, and all are phrases that can be used. If you are moving from a similar point to a different point also, you can use these particular words or phrases. Okay, clarity. I only have one slide with clarity because the way I understand, the ultimate result of having coherence in a paragraph is, of course, to make your writing very clear, right? To help your reader understand what you are saying. So the outcome of adding cohesive devices, having a particular logical order, right? They are all leading to having clarity or having writing your paragraph very clearly, right? You are going to signpost the organize of ideas. You are going to make sure that there is cohesion and flow in your paragraph. Then you are going to use appropriate signal words like however, therefore, and the ultimate goal of using all these is to make your writing very clear and readable and understandable for your reader, right? So in addition to what I have told, it's also important to keep in mind that you need to use punctuation and capitals in your writing and proofreading to ensure correctness of sentences. So if you write a paragraph and if you have time, even if you go to an exam and if you write an answer for an exam question, always try to keep 2 to 3 minutes for you to go back and read what you have written. So then you can ensure correctness of sentences and of the points that you are reading. So that's all I have on today's lesson. So let me summarize today's points. First of all, I told you what is coherence. Sorry. And then I explained to you the ways of achieving coherence. And then I told you by repeating key nouns, by the use of consistent pronouns, by the use of cohesive devices, and by having a logical order, you can achieve coherence, right? So logical order, when it comes to logical order, I spoke of 3 logical orders that are commonly used in English. They are chronological order, logical division of ideas, and comparison and contrast. And I told you the ultimate goal of all these, including all these into your paragraph, is to make your writing clear and understandable to the reader. And also, I told you the importance of proofreading or rereading what you have written so that you can see the correctness of the sentences. And also, I spoke of the importance of using punctuation marks and capitals in your writing. That's it for today. I hope you were able to gain some important points, points that will be useful for you to when you are going to write well-organized paragraphs. Thank you.